excuse me, aha. Welcome to what will be the last live stream of 2023. And as always, I'll get through the chat and then I will post a link should anyone wish to jump in and get on the action, although I'm not sure how long this will last. As I was setting up, I saw that another stream had been scheduled, which is unfortunate because I purposely checked and there were no other streams happening at this time. So if the turnout is poor, then we're just going to have to pull the plug on this. But, excuse me, we have with us today Adrian, hello there. And Stephen, good to see you. Only one Kenobi, the only one. Sup, Dean, we love you. That's very kind. We love you too. Monkey Boys Toys is here. Good to see you, Dave. And Ed5 is here. Excellent. On Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year to you too. Cannot believe it's already New Year. Very fast year this. Very fast Christmas period as well. Very sad that it's all over now, but always got next year to look forward to. Seth, good to see you. Jump in General, Happy New Year to you. And there's Dan saying hi to only one. Retro Toy Guy Sai, good to see you. Happy New Year, Godspeed 2024, yes. Martin, love this intro. Oh, thank you. Good day, Mucky Boy. And saying hi to Ed. Ben, good to see you as well. Ben, Happy New Year, Dean, and Happy New Year to all in the chat. A 2023 review, nice touch, thank you. Yeah, so before I post the link, have a think about what were your highlights of this past year. What was the best thing you added to your collection? What was the best thing you saw on either the big screen or on TV? What was the best new music you heard? What was the best new toy that came out? Take notes, and if you're summoned, be ready to give me your answers. There's Ed saying hi to a lot of people there. Please tell me you're going to do a 7-hour stream like 2 years ago. No, I don't know how that happened. That was just absolutely insane. Nomad. My eyesight is failing me here. I'm going to get this right here. Nomad Ammon. Hello to all. Hello to you. Ed saying hi to Ben. So Ben says, Monkey Boy Toys, Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone. Still 2023, just here so you know. Of course, because Dan is way in the future. Ray, good to see you. Hello there. Big Ernie, hello to all. Hello to you. Technical Defense, I remember the name. Good to see you. Dean, every day is Christmas Eve. Oh, I wished it was. I really do. Just got the Batman 66 and Robin with oxygen masks figures. Good. Yeah, I mean, whilst I consider them to be slightly ridiculous releases, they are still nice figures, of course. So how do I go about doing this? Let me, excuse me, let me post a link. I think I've got one more comment here. Jumping General, I bought 12 new arcade games this year and got rid of one crazy girlfriend. Oh, I suppose you ended up with the better end of the deal. Sounds like it. So let me see if I can do this. Of course, with this not being a Christmas live stream, we don't have the fancy doorbell should anyone wish to join in, but I think that's it posted. It is indeed. So just give this a few seconds to move up on my YouTube screen, and then I can pin that to the top so that anyone who wishes to join in on the action can indeed do so. And like I said, think about what were the highlights of this past year, which things did you enjoy the most, what did you add to your collection, and also what are you planning for next year? I think for me, there'll definitely be a lot less toys coming into the collection, but I am thinking about more videos, more sort of thought pieces, because those ones have done quite well these past few weeks, actually. I was quite surprised. we have a guest. It is Retro Toy Guy.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, sir?
Yes, I'm very good. How are you,
Excellent.
Dean?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm certainly feeling a lot better than I was last week.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wanted to jump on last week, but I was sitting in my pajamas.
Ah,
So
oh, um,
make a pajama party of it.
well, I'm sure you would have still been the best dressed, even in pajamas.
I wouldn't know about that. So did you have a good Christmas, sir?
Oh, of course, absolutely. But I got to be honest, this Christmas it came and went so quickly. I really feel like I didn't enjoy it as much as I normally would. It was just unbelievably fast.
Yeah. I really didn't have a Christmas feel this year.
Yeah.
Hey, I see a monkey boy.
Hello, monkey boy.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Sorry, I was just
Yeah.
opening my my New Year's beverage. Good
Oh,
evening
good.
to you, gentlemen.
Evening.
How are you both?
Yes.
You doing well?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yes. I'm just going to pin this now. So I believe that's
So did you have a good Christmas, monkey boy?
Yeah, it was a quiet one, but yeah, it was fine. Yeah, thank you very much. It was all good, all good. Treated myself to a rather large Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, which you may or may not have seen on the channel. So that was
Yes.
my Christmas present to myself. So very happy with that.
Ah,
Oh, awesome. So that's going to be your goal for 2024, completing the Turtles?
No, it was a
No.
one and done, really. Apart from maybe one or two characters that I might pick up, I kind of did it all in one hit. I asked a local toy seller to source me some really good condition turtles, and there were I think 11 core characters that I wanted, and I wanted to get them all in one hit because there's no way I can afford to complete the turtles collection. I mean, it's vast.
But
So,
that's what you just need, that little start. That's what I do. I'm just going to get that just that one thing, because that's the one I had when I was yeah. But now I see there's that, and that's the way it goes. It gets you. It gets you.
Yeah. I mean, never say never.
On that very subject, I just did something similar, whereby I guess it was probably January of this year, I completed, or I thought I had completed, a collection of a certain 80s toy that I was happy with, and that was it. I was happy with what I had. I did not need anything else. However, I've just gotten more from that line because why? Because I just can't resist.
Yeah.
You tell yourself that's it, no more. But then something just eats away at your brain. You think, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I find myself just looking at. I have a few websites where I normally buy all my stuff from, and then I'm bored, so I'm just gonna have. I just have a little look. I just say, oh my god, they have that. Okay, now I have to get that.
Yeah.
So, did you guys treat yourselves to anything this Christmas?
Well, I was actually treated this Christmas. You may have seen my my Christmas video where I got lovely gifts from Jason at Travels and More with Jason. That lovely space cannon was just mind blowing to get that.
Yeah.
That was just, but obviously that's now feeding that. Oh yeah, I just need to get a little bit more of that space stuff.
Yeah.
And I got an amazing gift from a friend in England of the James Bond Aston Martin, the re-release of the 1964 Corgi.
Yeah, that was your friend's late father's, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was quite sentimental thing for him to give away, but he knows that I've got a big collection and it finds a good home. And I've taken it under the agreement that if he ever wants it back, he can have it back immediately without any fuss.
So yeah, let me just catch up with this chat, and then we'll continue this good topic of conversation. So Tactical Defense said, his best purchase this year was RTJ Shelf Talker, which was found in a derelict shop in Wales. The seller got it graded, which I don't mind, as it looks good in its case.
Ah.
Yeah, cool.
Excuse the ignorance here. Is RTJ referring to Return of the Jedi, or is it something else?
I would assume so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't actually know what a shelf talker is.
Was it one of those units that used to fit onto the shelves at retail stores? Maybe.
Oh, okay.
It might not be. I could be wrong. Let us know, Tactical.
Yeah.
Let us know
And,
exactly what that was.
Seth got himself a few 90s Thunderbirds figures, and to complete his series, also the large Thunderbird 2. Nice.
Oh,
Cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Jumping General he collected enough this year. I'm thankful for my good health, good friends. Health is wealth. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Reading Movies says, well done to Toy Guy Sai for achieving 300 subs. Yes, indeed.
Oh, well done,
Yes,
man.
thank you.
Well
Yes.
done. Last time
Yeah.
I checked, you were just under, so you just
Excellent.
just popped over.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
kind of ended up with 290 around Christmas, and I thought, wow, are we going to make the 300 before New Year? And yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
fantastic. That's
So
great.
it's good to see Mark here. So Mark actually earlier today, Mark is in Scotland, and we don't know each other from being in Scotland, but he happened to be in my old town. So sent me some photographs of the high street and everything. And I won't say that I had a tear in my eye, but I did feel a little bit emotional seeing the old high street and some of the old shops. So it's good to see you here, Mark. And the Toys of a Time Gone By. Hello all, just wanted to let you know I appreciated the video you did playing the tape of your family. I wished I had that of mine to listen to. Thanks for sharing. Memories is what Christmas is about. Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that was a very special video you did there, Dean.
Oh, thank you, Sai. Yeah. And I just wished I'd done it sooner because I've been sitting on this tape for over 4 years. And I was using the fact that I didn't have a tape player as an excuse. But the truth was, I was afraid of what I might hear and how it might affect me. But as it was, it really, upon listening to that tape, it really did put a real oomph into my step. It made me feel wonderful just to hear those voices again.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, ghosts from the past.
Yeah. Now I'm wondering if children of this era, if all the cell phone videos that they are taking, I wonder if those will survive 40 odd years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even if they did, the fact that they can just at any given time go into their phone and watch an old recording of grandma or granddad, it won't have the same effect as that tape had on me. Because, I mean, in the case of grandfather, he passed away in 83, so I hadn't heard his voice in, 4 decades. Grandma was 92. Mum was 2015 and dad was 2019. So already for me, a great deal of time had passed since actually hearing those voices. But as I said, with kids nowadays recording everything on their phone, they won't have that gap in time that I just had.
Yeah.
So it won't have the same effect, will it?
No. I think it's the same as everything's just it's available. You can just find everything everywhere. It's all streaming. Yeah, it's a different age.
Yeah, and the thing as well, I have boxes of old photographs. And when you think back to the time of using real film, you only took really important shots because it was so bloody expensive to develop the film. And the film itself was expensive. So for the most part, the photographs that I have from the family are all pretty nicely posed pictures. Whereas nowadays, and I admit to this myself, my phone is filled with the most random, stupid pictures that I will never likely look at again.
Yeah.
Oh, we tend to take a ton of pictures during the whole year. So I'm a family of 4. So my wife's taking pictures on her phone. I'm taking pictures on my phone. My oldest, well, both my sons now have telephones. They're taking photos as well. And then we just gather the best ones and put them in a book and make a book for each year of the best photos. Because looking through a book is always better than looking through someone's phone or something. And actually, the other day we pulled out the book for 2014 or 15, I think. And then it was just fun because we moved house a few years ago. And then it was fun looking at pictures of our old house and the kids trying to remember what the old house was like. So
it's a good idea to collate all the best snaps throughout the year and put them in a book. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. I'm thinking as well that maybe I will put a book together as well, because my grandmother, she would keep photo albums, and it was such a nice thing to just to flick through and see all the photographs with those sort of corner tabs holding them in place.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you say, what we do is we just kind of scroll through a phone screen, and it doesn't have the same sort of magic to me. So yeah. I think for 2024, I'm going to try and make more of an effort to be a bit more old-fashioned, if you will.
A bit more 80s.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with today's cameras on phones particularly is that it's very easy to just point and click. And get a reasonable picture.
Yeah.
I mean, the composition might be terrible and the subject might be terrible, but you get a good picture every time. Whereas, back in the day, you had to really make sure that you were doing it right. Otherwise, you just got a blurry nonsense back from the developers. So,
So we have a guest coming on. Now, he's not a time traveler, but he is from the future.
Oh.
It's
Ed
5. How are you? How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys? All right.
Hey, man.
Hello.
Hey.
Look, I have to say, I've just finished a 12-hour shift doing night security work overnight. So I'm going to neck this beer.
Okay.
I'm probably going to go to bed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, of course.
Because I've got to go secure a New Year's Eve party tonight. So it's.
Oh wow.
I'll only get about probably 7 hours kit.
Oh. Wow.
But I could have missed the opportunity to jump on,
Yeah, and the thing is, well, Ed, I'm sure you'll be aware, having seen the Patreon stuff, but now, more than ever, I am getting closer and closer to being in a very similar time zone to you.
It's going to be great.
So
we will definitely do lots of streaming together.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a shame that when you do a live stream, when I'm here in America and I'm on the East Coast, it's about 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning.
Well, so it's 10 to 7 at the moment in the morning.
Yeah. So for these boys that live on the American West Coast, your live streams would be about 3 in the morning.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's not good. Oh, we have someone else. It's our friend Seth.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Seth. Hey, man.
G'day, Seth.
Yeah. So hang on. Right now, we're all in a different country, aren't we?
Yep.
Yes.
Belgium.
Netherlands.
UK.
Australia. I'm in Australia, mate.
Wow. So.
Yeah.
What is the time at your side?
Sorry?
The time here?
What's the time at Ed's side in Australia right now?
It's 10 minutes to 7 in the morning.
Ah, okay. Yeah, we have 20 past 9. Quite a difference.
Yeah. So I am in New Year's Eve time.
The only ones in
it's still 2023.
Yeah. Although I am thinking, though, I think in terms of entering into a new year, you obviously hit it first, Dan.
So New Zealand will be first, and
New
then
Zealand first. Okay, right.
Yeah. So we'll be first, and then we're second. So I'm 2.5 hours behind New Zealand.
Mm. It's
And
just
half
before-
an hour
already-
difference
It's
to Sydney time.
2024 where you are, isn't it, Ed?
No, not yet. It's still 2023, mate. It's the 31st
Oh,
today.
okay, sorry. I don't know what day it is anyway, to be fair.
Right. The holidays will
Yeah,
do that to you, son. It's all good.
Yeah. So Ed, if you're going to neck that beer and then take some kip, tell us quickly what was the. Well, actually, no, because 2023 was a bitch of a year for you, wasn't it?
It's been absolute fucking shit.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a retrospect. After I finish the New Year's thing tonight,
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down in front of a camera and in the motel room I'm staying in, because I'm going to be an hour away in the next town along, and I'm going to do a wrap up of 2023 and just how rubbish it has been. Yeah, but look, there's always positives. I've got a new job. Things are looking up. You know, my best mate from the New York is coming to the Southern Hemisphere, and yeah, it'll be party time from now on.
Yeah. True. Yeah. And actually, Dan, I think you mentioned to me when we spoke when I was in Thailand last time, you said, and I believe, is it 2025, the Star Wars celebration is going to be in Japan.
In Tokyo, correct? Yeah.
Right. So there was talk of trying to make something happen, but it's a long way off.
Well, look, I'm still actively working towards that. It'll be a 50th birthday present to myself. Merry Christmas. Yeah, so I'm definitely aiming towards that goal, because I doubt very much that, to be honest, I don't think celebration will ever come down here.
Right.
So our best bet is probably Tokyo.
Yeah. It's so funny because obviously, as well, as everyone knows, given your screen name, you are a massive Iron Maiden fan. And what I found hilarious was Iron Maiden recently announced the Somewhere in Time, or what's it called? Somewhere Back in Time tour for America. And obviously, I'll Be Long Gone. But they also announced dates in Japan. And
not only that, they'll be in Australia in September of this year. So they might even be in Thailand.
Well, no, there's no. I checked. The closest would be Japan. And although, in saying that, it sounds, or you would assume, that Japan and Thailand were pretty close. But the truth is, it's still a good 6-7 hour flight from Thailand to get to Tokyo.
To be totally honest with you, mate, it'd be quicker for you to jump on a plane and come down here. It's only about a 6-hour flight.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And the weather's better as well. And the beer's cold, so.
Yeah.
Cups.
Also, what I found really interesting was in Thailand, they have a lot of Western food, and a lot of it does come from the UK, but there's a ton of it from Australia.
Yeah.
So I saw your Tim Tams, and a lot of the vacuum packed beef is actually Australian Wagyu. As opposed to the Japanese stuff.
Yeah, so they grow a lot of Wagyu, especially around Tasmania and stuff. It's fantastic.
Right.
But I could even package up some jerky and send that over to you. bit of crocodile, bit of emu, kangaroo jerky. You'd be right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exotic.
Yeah. But one thing's for sure, 2024 has to be a better year for you than this past year was.
Look, there's nothing, I mean, apart from death, there's probably nothing that could actually go worse for me in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's be honest. Short of, I mean, I'm already sort of at the lowest of lows in terms of what I had and what still hasn't come back to me. But, I'll refocus, re-gear it, and then we'll start a fresh type.
Yeah. But have there been any leads whatsoever?
Still nothing yet, mate.
None.
Yeah. I was, look, there's been a couple of leads, but led to nothing at the end of last year. But the cops are still sort of proactive, and because of the uniqueness of some of the stuff, somebody's got to mess up somewhere along the line,
Right.
and then that'll be game over, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Things are always sunny
Yeah.
in the southern hemisphere.
That is something, at least. Around here we have so much rain. It's, I wish I could say the same about some.
Yeah,
I
we
think
just got
today-
storms and rain and crap here.
Yeah, same here, man. It's typical weather, yeah.
Yeah.
I read there were a lot of floodings also in the central of Europe. Several countries had water, water, I say this, flooding, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be 29 degrees Celsius here today. So that's lovely.
A dream. Yeah.
It's summer. What can you ask for?
Yeah.
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 Well, even though, but it's winter here in Europe, but it's still sort of like 10 degrees, which is too warm for winter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And instead of having snow and ice, like Seth said, it's just raining. It's been the wettest year in the Netherlands since records began. Probably the same in Belgium, I would imagine.
Yeah, same with it.
And just the wind, just like weeks and weeks of like storm force wind trying to rip the roof off my house.
You tried.
Yeah, people. I have a friend who had solar panels on his garage roof, and they don't screw them to the roof. They just put lots of ballast on, and the wind just ripped everything off his roof.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I mean, I have to admit, I am being a little selfish here, whereby I am praying to get some snow, just to have that one last chance to experience it. But, like you say, the temperatures have been well above where they should be.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, we had a lot of rain as well. It's been really awful weather.
Actually, snow is nice to see, but personally, I find it a bit unpractical in my country because I have the impression that most people can't decently drive the cars when there is any kind of weather.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
One snowflake falls and everyone forgets how to drive.
Chaos. And I wonder why. It's also, if you go on the highway and it was snowing, okay, you have to adjust your driving behavior. But some people suddenly start to drive like they don't dare driving anymore. It's like everything gets stuck in it's a hassle. But I like snow, looking through the window, sitting warm with a coffee or something.
I like driving in the snow in the dark at nighttime with your headlights on and the snow coming towards you. You feel like you're in the Millennium Falcon. You're going to go into hyperspace.
That's when you flick on the high beams. Entering hyperspace. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, although I find it a bit exciting. I mean, like, you have to focus really hard in snow, so you need to start like anyway. I used to do that.
I did read that the UK officially had a white Christmas because it snowed in the Highlands.
Oh.
I've got a friend in Aberdeen, and she had snow. I think Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice.
But it never made its way down the country.
So, a quick question for Dan: have you ever experienced snow?
Yeah. So we have snowfields on the eastern coast of Australia. So there's a mountain range where Mount Kosciuszko is between New South Wales and Victoria. And there's snow there on the peaks in winter. So you've got the best of everything in this country. We really are the lucky country. So. Probably not to the same extent as the snow blizzards of Europe and stuff at certain times, but it's certainly enough for skiing and all that fun stuff. So.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, we'll probably never have a Winter Olympics here, but you never know.
Talking about the weather in the past year, how was the summer in you guys' part of the world? Around here, it was quite hot, I think. So I think you also remember last summer was quite, not like years ago, but still.
Yeah, no, I remember, well, actually, it was June. June was a really hot month. And I fortunately, in June, I damaged my knee. So I had a whole month off work. And I just sat in my back garden and drank beer in the sun. And then as soon as the month after, July, that was when I was officially on holiday. Then it started raining again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how was it in New York and in UK?
Well, New York was fine. It didn't quite get to the highs we've had previously, but it was still very hot. But in actual fact, we had a second spell of summer just prior to Halloween, whereby on the weekend before Halloween, it was so hot, there were people in bikinis sunbathing in the local park.
Wow.
Absolutely crazy. Now, I'm going to take, just give me 1 second here. We have someone waiting, but because of the size of my screen, and I just cannot swipe up. Oh, no, it's okay. I see him now. If you remember this guy, it's Ed. How are you, sir?
Big loader. I'm very good. As promised, there's the big loader.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good to see you again, man.
Yeah.
Good.
I was just worried there. I was going to have a Tim Hayes moment whereby I couldn't quite see who it was, and if I brought them onto the screen, but I was able to swipe up the way. So yeah, Ed, we remember you. The big loader.
Just swiping up for me, Dean, rather than swiping left or right.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a quick show of hands. Who else had the big loader set as a kid?
No.
I think I did. I'm pretty sure
I
I did. That's the one. That's the one where you had the hopper of marbles, yeah, and it would tip them in the. Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic playset. And if I remember rightly, it was one motorized unit operated all the different parts of the. It wasn't really a game as such, was it? It was more a.
No, it just went round the track. It basically had like two massive car batteries almost in the lower unit, and that went round. And there's like a metal. It's sort of. Yeah, the bottom bit continues round, and then it picks up a different top unit, and each of the top units then does something different, which takes the little plastic balls around the track, and then so it goes round. I would do a live demonstration, but I'm in France at the moment just to continue with the worldwide theme.
Excellent.
Cool.
Nice.
But yeah, the batteries. It did take the massive. Was it the D-size batteries? The really were they the really big ones? I think they took that, and they lasted about 10 minutes. So you've got about 3 laps out of it before you needed some more ever-readies.
Now, I've got to say, on that very subject, I'm quite envious of kids in this day and age, because as you just said, our motorized toys, the batteries literally lasted 10 minutes, and that was it. Whereas nowadays, all the toys are rechargeable, and those things are good for a few hours. So it's hours of entertainment for the kids these days, whereas we were lucky to get 10 minutes of action.
Correct.
Yeah.
We never had alkaline batteries, did we? It was all like whatever those batteries were in those days, but there was no like copper-colored top or whatever the advert told us. There was no Duracell or anything equivalent, was there, in the 80s?
No, it was just Energizer, wasn't it?
Energizer, Polaroid, Kodak batteries.
Yeah.
But if you look at the construction of
Fuji.
Vintage toys, they are if they use electromotors or electronic components, they are usually much bigger, much heavier, overkill almost. I refer to the TIE Fighter of Star Wars.
Yes.
Just had like a little sound. You had like a electro-spool motor on like a little plastic thing that was rattling.
Yes.
But by itself, it's a very energy-consuming thing. You shouldn't need that just to make a little sound. Today, you can make a little PCB with a small speaker on that, which uses a few volts, almost 3 volts.
Yeah.
I think the days of these big C batteries that we will not see them again, especially not in the concurrence with the USB ports also.
Yeah, but certainly thinking back to those old Star Wars sounds, some of them were some of the worst sounds ever.
The Falcon was real strange.
Yeah. And also, I still remember my snow speeder. It sounded like a car starting up, like jink, 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 jink.
Yeah, indeed.
A dental drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and also I did have Han Solo's, blaster sort of prop replica type thing. Oh my God, that thing would go right through your ears into your brain.
Was that blaster also with the motor that was rattling?
Yeah, it was I guess it was like a motor with an unbalanced wheel, so that it make the whining sound. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Actually, before you had batteries that did that, it was like I remember you had guns and it like created a spark. It was just there was no battery. It was just like a sort of
a flywheel or something.
Was it a flywheel or something?
Like a cigarette lighter, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a flint.
Like a massive.
If I remember correctly, it was a combination of a small, like a lighter stone, like a cigarette lighter, and a flywheel. And by pulling the trigger, you make the flywheel spin a certain speed, and then it starts by friction. You get these sparks, if I remember correctly.
Absolutely.
There were also the systems with the little records into the toys. I remember old Knight Rider toy or the Star Wars troop transporter had this little vinyl inside.
A little record.
Yeah.
What would now be on a microchip is
I found it beautiful. It's pure philosophy if you look at the construction of these parts.
Yeah. It's the same with the Action Man Talking Commander.
A
small record.
Yeah.
Quite
I
remarkable.
saw a video from VTR Dave.
Mm-hmm.
He did a restoration on the Star Wars transporter.
I've seen it.
And when he took it to pieces and he get that tiny little vinyl record out, I was just, what? How is this possible that they built that?
And what I found the most amazing in that restoration video, I saw it a few weeks ago, was that you could skip the songs, and there was a mechanical system inside that if you press a button, the needle would jump to a certain track, like a pattern. Mechanically, I found that mind-blowing how such a small scale they could produce that industrially.
The engineering genius of those 80s Kenner toys. I mean, look at the mask range of toys. What they managed to do on such a small scale, and just have all those fantastic.
These spring-loaded systems, they were really, really nice. You press a button and 2 other actuators get going. It's always like
It was the black Corvette, the Raven.
Yes, you turn around.
The whole front end would turn around, and just the loading mechanism for the discs, where you actually had to cock it by pulling the number plate out the back. And then fire it by pressing the button on top.
That's beautiful. The thing with these mechanisms is that if you take them apart or if you look at them, mechanics, they betray themselves after a while. If you look at it, you will see how things are connected and how the logic of a thing works. I don't have that impression with a microboard. Give me a microboard out of a toy, I will not know what is on it. But if I see a mechanical device, you can reverse engineer it with your eyes almost.
So speaking of mechanical devices, who remembers Starcom? Starcom had those vehicles where they spring-loaded, they came out and they were all
those little magnet dudes.
Yeah, that's right.
They had quite some movement with almost no battery. With no batteries.
No batteries at all. It was awesome.
So they were all done on tension springs, weren't they?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So on that very subject, I received a comment on one of my old mask videos that makes a lot of sense here. Now, they said you should always display masks in the, I guess if it's Venom, it's attack mode, and if it's mask defense mode, because when they're in vehicle mode, everything is under tension.
I'm not sure what the rule is applicable to mask, but a spring that gets stored in a compressed state might lose tension. But it depends on how the mechanism works.
Yeah.
If the toy is unfolded and that means that all the springs are with no tension, then it's okay. But if it can be that in a certain unfolded state, some springs are still loaded.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is really a general rule.
And the funny thing is, though, I actually prefer my mask vehicles in vehicle mode. I think they look nicer on display as vehicles.
Yeah.
I have all mine in attack mode, I think. Yeah, pretty much.
Now, obviously, in an ideal world, you would have 2 of each vehicle. That's not going to happen. So I made my choice. I'm going to keep them as, everyday vehicles for my display purposes. But I do understand what the commenter meant, because things such as the Thunderhawk,
the door spring,
those things want to go. They all, when you touch that thing, the doors just jump up.
But a lot of them now, with my one, when I release it, the doors they sag. You have to take it out and rebend the spring to put more tension back in it.
Did you guys see that RC automated Optimus Prime? I've seen it being released like a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you press the button, it transforms by motors and all. I've been dreaming. I don't have the time now to do it, but I've been playing with the idea for a while of applying that onto a mask vehicle, like adding servo motors to that and having it transform. But I have many projects on the list, of course. But that would be a good idea, I think. For the toy makers, the indie guys, automate the toys. The technology is there.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you see things like the radio-controlled Optimus Prime, but it just transforms and then it transforms back again and it says a few things. So for 5 minutes, it's amazing, and then just put it away.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a real play value for a child.
No,
not really. Not really.
If you guys don't mind,
I'm going to head off. Yeah, because it's 7:15. I need to get some rest.
Gotcha.
Happy New Year, everyone. I just want to quickly say, truth there and all. See, the toys of time gone and reading movies. G'day and goodbye.
Okay, Dan. See you. Thank you for coming by.
I'll see you all next year.
See you.
See you next year, man.
See you, man. See you, mate. Bye.
So, if you just give me a couple of minutes, I'll just get this chat caught up with, because we are quite far behind now. So, Toys of a Time Go By says, I love those McFarlane Superpowers figures. I bought a few already. Anyone else into Superpowers?
Not my thing.
Not really. I mean, I did like the figures as a kid, but I don't think I had any. Maybe I had Superman. I can't remember. The McFarlane ones look all right, but they're slightly bigger than the originals are, so they don't scale particularly well with them, unfortunately.
And Reading Movies asks, have I seen the new McFarlane Batman 66 Commissioner Gordon, or do you already have it? Now, I suspect you're talking about the latest wave they just announced. And the Commissioner Gordon is the Commissioner Gordon from the animated series from '77. And I got to be honest, when I first saw the release, I thought I was looking at Alfred from the '66 TV series. So potentially I could maybe get this figure and alter it a little bit to make him look like Alfred. But as things stand, I am not getting any of these new figures because I am strictly the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Mark says it'll be Shelf Taker. Autospell killing it. So a Shelf Taker, does that help? This was in regards to the Return of the Jedi.
Display thing that goes on the shelf.
No,
shelf display.
It is called a Shelf Talker. It's definitely called a Shelf Talker. It's still referred to that now.
Okay.
Because it's talking off the shelf. It's selling you. It's like marketing from the shelf. Yeah.
So is that like the shelf edge display type thing?
Yeah, that's the same sort of thing. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So Martin asks or says, for me, it's been all about the new Stan Solo figures plus Bantha and the OT Star Wars retro figs. Yeah, that's a good point. And Seth, who is here with us, which custom figures do you guys want to see released in 24 by indie makers? That's a good question.
I like, or can be big companies also. Which characters or vehicles would you like to see being made?
I would like to see Hasbro do some more of the original trilogy in retro collection, please.
Oh,
please. I want a Yoda, and I can't get one because they're too bloody expensive now.
Was it already released, Yoda, by the
Empire Strikes Back? Yeah.
Yeah, it was already released, but I missed it.
Was it
you try and get one now on the aftermarket?
No, Seth, sorry, Sai. This ties in with what I said. So this video will go onto YouTube tomorrow. But I did a video looking at the Book of Boba Fett retro collection figures. And in that video, I said to Hasbro, if they happen to be listening, the fact that when you go onto these retail websites and look up Star Wars retro collection, you will see all the figures that were done from the modern Disney TV shows are all on sale, and the figures that were done by Kenner 40 years ago that you guys re-released as retro are sold out. What does that tell you? The people want the old Kenner figures re-released, not this modern stuff.
Yeah.
Because I watched your video and then I didn't realize they were doing the Phantom Menace retro collection until you put it on your video. And I was just, what? Why?
Why? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
From my point of view, it would be I would rather see them that they make missing characters from the original trilogy than making characters from the last series, but in the vintage style, because the vintage style usually refers to people like us, but does the new Star Wars refers to us? That's the question.
And then obviously some of you guys have seen the video already, but the fact of the matter is that within this retro collection, and in particular this latest Book of Boba Fett wave of retro figures, Hasbro are reissuing retro figures they previously issued in earlier waves with very slight tweaks to accessories.
Different weapons or something.
It's incredibly lazy on their part.
Yeah.
You can understand a smaller company doing that because they need to make the most out of their molds. But for a company like Hasbro, there's really no excuse for doing that. You're right. It was lazy.
I came to the conclusion that Hasbro now, they make toys. They don't make toys. They make displayable figures for collectors. They don't actually make toys for kids anymore. And it's the same with Corgi. If you want to buy like a James Bond Aston Martin from Corgi or the Lotus, it's going to set you back almost €40. That's not and it comes in a lovely display box. But when we had them in the 80s, they were toys, and I'd bash mine around and I was ejecting the little guy out because I was playing with it and having fun with it. But now it's for collectors only, and that's where it's going.
Yeah, but I'll give you a bit of an insight into that because I work in the toy industry.
Ed, could you give me just 1 second? We have someone else joining us. He was here last week. It's Lester.
Hello.
Hi, Lester.
Hey, Lester.
Merry Christmas, guys. How you all doing?
Okay.
You work in the toy industry, Ed?
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
No, I was just going to say so that the difference between the toys that we bought in the 80s that were made for us as kids and what is now for sale in the market is that these big companies, and it's not just Hasbro, it's Mattel and others, have realized there's this sort of subcategory which they call kidults. It's called various things, but kidults is one of those. And what they've realized is that they can produce figures, vehicles, things that drive huge nostalgia for all of us at a very high price point. So they can get, I think I've said this before about the Playmobil stuff, how I bought the Magnum PI set. for £70. And then I thought, Jesus, £70, this is like madness. It should be like 40 maximum. But then here I am, the sucker, because I've got the disposable income perhaps to buy that at 70. Whereas if you're the mum or dad buying it for your child, or you are the child saving up your pocket money, it's a completely different situation. So I think, these companies are pretty smart, and they're all doing it. They've got almost a range of products that are purely for people like ourselves that are perhaps, foolishly parted with our money and leased a little bit on these things. So I think there are still the toys for kids, but they're very clever. They've got this knowledge that they can tap into this kid-alt market.
But companies like Playmobil, they don't aim 90% of their merchandise at us. It's the other way around. It's 10% is so they did the DeLorean, they did the Ghostbusters, they do the Magnum PI, the A-Team, and Knight Rider, and a few other things. But the main thing is for the kids. It's the knights and police and general toys.
Yeah, the industry average is about 25% of all toys. Is about 25% bought by kidults. So people like ourselves. So it will change and vary. I'm sure some of the HasLab stuff is never bought by children, whereas you're right. The Playmobil stuff is predominantly bought for kids or by kids.
Although, with regard to Playmobil, I'm still somewhat confused about these highly detailed vehicles, and yet the most simplistic figures you've ever seen.
I agree.
This doesn't work for me.
I have the same with Lego.
Yeah, it is true. It's the same with the Lego Star Wars, right? The figures can be completely different, but the ships are pretty accurate. But they're just, it's not breaking away from that sort of license, what is the iconic Lego figure or the Playmobil figure is adapted for the Magnum PI or for the A-Team or whatever. And it's completely unrealistic, right?
Well, the thing with the Playmobil figures is they kind of have to maintain their brand, don't they, with the style of the figures. But I'm all in on the Playmobil stuff. I probably won't get the Magnum PI set purely because I never watched it as a child, so I've got no connection to it. But in terms of the Scooby-Doo, Ghostbusters, A-Team, all that, I'm really into those. I love them. I think they're brilliant.
Yeah. You got some really good videos about them as well, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man.
Can I just take a couple of minutes to get the chat caught up here?
Yeah,
so
man.
GA has said, hey, AT8s. Ed has asked, and the fact he's here proves it is indeed an invite. They like recording school fights on their phones. Oh, so that's kids today. So we're talking about old, nice family photographs. Now it's all school fights. Unbelievable. Let's fill the room. Yes. Kids won't know what it's like to take a photo and wait nearly 2 weeks to see the result.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because my brother-in-law, he still has at least 2 or 3.
Oh, audio.
Oh, we've lost.
Are you back? No. Say something, Lester.
All right.
Speak to us,
so
Lester.
I was.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying my brother-in-law has about 3 film cameras. He's trying to get repaired because something going on with each of them. But film is making a comeback, according to him, in certain demographics.
Okay.
I think there's something to be said about, and I think there are some scanners that do negative scans, so you pop the film in. If you need that instant development kind of thing going on, but something about the film, you're more careful about getting the shot rightly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what Dean was saying earlier. That you only had, say, what was it, 30 or 32 shots on a film?
Yeah.
About that. So.
Well, worse still, if you bought the disc camera, which I think was 15, wasn't it? you remember that? The disc camera?
I used to
never had one, but
in a floppy disk inside was an
No. It was like
the round.
it was like a circular disc, a round disc. Yeah, you're right. And it, I think it was 15 because that was the maximum frames they could get on the size of the format. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Martin says, sorry to leave so early. I'll have to go to the pub. Oh, excellent. Tomorrow. Good excuse. And cheers to Ralph. I regularly get photos printed. Paper still has advantages over screens. Absolutely. Yeah. Interestingly enough, whenever I go to my local Walgreens, 9 times out of 10, someone is picking up prints.
Yeah.
So people still do it, clearly.
It's been ages since I've used film. I remember I was at the academy in the beginning of the 2000s, and that's where the switch was happening between film, from analog to digital.
Yeah.
So I remember from one year to another, I was doing graphic designs there. I could do my work with a digital camera, and that's speeded up the whole process much more.
Yeah.
But that first camera, I remember, had a floppy disk inside of it. It was like a small floppy disk, 1.4 megabyte. You could just insert it.
Yeah.
It changed a lot.
When my sister and her husband were in town, they were rocking the Polaroid. Polaroid's making a comeback too.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, actually, Mrs. AT8 has a Polaroid that we've used a few times in Thailand, and it's fun actually. Although, to be honest, the quality is not great, but it's okay. And they sell the film with already pre-built-in fancy borders. Rather than just a plain white border, you get like nice balloons or something or other. It's fun, and I guess to capture the moment. So what we would typically do was take a photograph and hold the pose, wait for it to develop, and then hold the photograph and take the photograph again, holding the same picture. It was
that's a good idea.
Yeah. So Technical Defense says a shelf talker is the on-shelf advertising the toys. It's a long strip, about 18 inches long. It's a Palatoy sign advertising Return of the Jedi from '83.
Very cool.
Pretty cool. And then Toys of a Times Gone By saw Maiden in 2000 on their Brave New World tour. Yeah, I saw that one as well in Glasgow. And Rob Halford was the opening act that night. Barry saw Iron Maiden this year, so he saw the Somewhere Back in Time tour. Excellent. Tom, good to see you here. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey, Tom.
Yesterday was nice. The last 2 days before it rained, and the weather was in the 50s. Well, we're really behind here because we were discussing weather earlier. Pissed down with rain in Cornwall. Tree Theodore, good to see you, sir.
Hey, Tree.
And hi to Tree. Adrian says, hey, everyone. Ben says, still have my big loader. Need some repairs, but a great toy. Absolutely. I was going to say hours of fun. That's maybe an exaggeration. Maybe 20 minutes of fun. I remember the rechargeable remote control trucks back in the early 90s lasting only 15 minutes when the rechargeable batteries were first starting to be used. Yeah.
NiCad, David, NiCad.
My B-Wing still works with batteries. Still makes a drill buzzing sound, yeah. Love the sound of Millennium Falcon toy back in '79. That motor vibrating in it's so nostalgic. Oh, yeah, I mean, there's no question that is a nostalgic sound. But by today's standards, those old Kenner whining motors are very annoying.
Yeah. They were very iconic sounds, weren't they? But if you hear that sound today, it means something has gone wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The worst thing is driving down the road and then suddenly hearing a Millennium Falcon noise coming from the back.
So Tom is saying the only superpower stuff I have is Robin and Green Lantern. I'm looking for Batman, but so far been unsuccessful. Stephen says, my best buy of 2023, acquiring a Fisher-Price rescue helicopter in box and with figures that I had as a young boy. That is fantastic. I'm into vintage Masters of the Universe. Anyone collect this line? Are you looking forward to more Origins figures and Eternia? I've already said this. I'm out of Origins. It's become too difficult to obtain. It should not be that hard to buy a toy. And as it stands, I took a quick peek the other day to see if I could find a Duplico figure. And the cheapest I was seeing was about $80 for a $17 figure. It just, and I think the Eternia, wasn't that about $500 or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah, I'm all out of the Origins. I think at this point, because haven't they changed the distribution model? So now it's only going to be available through.
Well, I believe they did this announcement a while back, whereby in stores, and this is America specifically, so Target, Walmart, etc., I guess Amazon will be getting the Filmation style figures. But the vintage figures that have not been released yet will only be available via Mattel Creations exclusives. Yeah. And that means that a $17 or $18 figure is going to cost you at least $26, $27 because Mattel Creations charge you $7 or $8 for shipping.
Right.
Furthermore, they've already announced the Targets and the Walmart's exclusive figures, which means that what should be a $19 or $17, $18, $19 figure will then become $80 figures on eBay because no one else can get hold of them. So the whole thing stinks. And ironically, didn't Mattel say at the outset, 3 or 4 years ago, don't worry, every figure will be available everywhere for retail price? And that clearly was not the case. So no, I am done with Origins Masters of the Universe. And the funny thing was, the other day, I pulled them all out thinking to myself, should I just keep a few of these and just sell the rest and be done with it? But upon looking at each and every figure, I'm like, oh my God, these are so cool. How can I possibly get these? And another one, we have all this technology and no one can still get a good photo of Bigfoot unless it's the Andre the Giant Bigfoot from $6 Million Man. Yeah. Oh dear, here she is. Mrs. AT8 is in the house. So, best of behavior, lads. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Mrs. AT8. Say hi. I guess that means say hi. Happy New Year from Italy. Oh, good to see you coming in from Italy. Daniel, good to see you. Hi, Dean. Ben. Hi, Rick. Never Ending Story, Daniel. Hi to Ben. I'm collecting vintage Origins and Revelations Motu. So I think we're caught up. Awesome, we're caught up. Now, with regards to Revelation Motu, locally I don't have these Ollie's or I think it's Ross discount stores. Mm-hmm. We have what we call D2. And I only recently discovered that D2 means deals and discounts. But they often get big name toys in. And recently I've seen some of these Masters of the Universe Revelation figures for about $6.
Yeah.
But I don't care for them because they don't remind me of childhood in any way, shape, or form. So who are those figures aimed at?
Who knows? Maybe the 3 people that actually like the Revelation cartoon. I don't know. I mean, they were kind of committed really to making the toys, way ahead of when the show came out. And the fact that the show really hit the skids has done nothing for that toy line at all.
Did they ever finish it? I only watched one episode, and I thought the animation was okay. But
yeah, the animation was fine. It was just the rest of the package was terrible. The character development was awful. The dialogue was awful. The story was awful. It just
that was Kevin Smith,
that's how
right?
I feel anyway. Yeah. I mean, I know some people did like it, but for me, I've got to say, I really didn't like that at all. It made me quite cross, in fact.
Oh dear.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but at the same time, those who may have been fans of He-Man, for whatever reason, may no longer be fans of He-Man at this point in time. And maybe if you were to jumpstart their interest, you would come away with a fresh character. Maybe not He-Man, maybe not She-Ra, but give us. It's like, do we need another He-Man? I don't know about you, Monkey Boy, but I don't think we need a retelling of the same character.
No, not really. I mean, it was missold from the outset.
Yeah.
Really, it was sold as a continuation to the Filmation series, which it was not, and it was sold as a He-Man show, which again it was not.
Okay.
If it had been sold accurately, maybe it would have had a bit more legs.
If I can just jump in for 1 second, we have another guest, and this is the youngest viewer on the channel, and I'm glad he's here. It's Tom.
Hello there.
Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hey, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
I'm pretty good.
So,
I mean,
were you a fan of Masters of the Universe Revelations?
Masters, that was the new show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried it for an episode. The art style kind of threw me off a bit, like, because I mean, I love Masters of the Universe, but when I watched that show, it's just I kind of was sitting there, and I was just really confused. So I just kind of gave up.
This is quite interesting because that show was made for you, Tom. It was made for your age group, your age demographic. So us old guys can moan about it, but it wasn't really made for us. So it's quite interesting to hear someone that it was made for not liking it as well.
It's true. Good remark.
Now,
no, it's interesting. You were go ahead.
No,
and my question is quickly: I've not seen it. Did they continue the animation style from the old Filmation series?
No.
They tried to make it serious, and they tried this kind of like making an Adam West Batman series. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So, in other words, the show was a flop, and the toys have been a flop as well. Is that correct to say?
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's the thing. That's the people wonder why the toys haven't been sold. And if you follow World Class BSers on YouTube, they will talk about all this dead weight inventory taking up so much real estate in a Target and in Ollie's and all these other places. Toys that haven't been sold for over 4 years worth of time, or even from the time of Force Awakens. Like, you wonder why people don't buy the stuff. It's because the stuff you're peddling out there, people aren't attached to them.
Interesting.
They don't have the same attachment to. I'm not any more attached to Ray BB-8. I'm not.
No.
I have
It's
no attachment.
Not even modern day Han Solo. Say Han Solo from.
I found it awful.
So I've not got any figures from that. It's not for me. It's not for me. I enjoy the movie, but the toys are just no.
It doesn't compel me.
Like, because there's no nostalgia attached to it, though. Doesn't the nostalgia drive the interest?
That's the driving factor.
But no, I think it's equally foolish to feed on nostalgia. Nostalgia only lasts for a good minute, but it's just not so much the person, although there is a bit of dimension to that. Why I still collect, if I do have them, I usually have a Luke and a Darth Vader. I mean, Darth Vader, just over the span of time, I don't know how they've done it over the years, but they still make him relevant, whether it's from the old days or just how comedic you can make the Vader character. There's still a bit of timelessness when it comes to Vader, and when it comes to Luke, in whatever level.
So
I still have.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I think for me, when they made the figures sort of more muscle bound and like they joined the WWF wrestling circuit,
the power of the force
figures, and it just for me that's like there's absolutely no interest in a figure that is not representative at all of what they look like in the movies. So for me, it's completely a turn off. Anything like that, it's just over engineered and made to look completely ridiculous. Doesn't represent the film at all.
On that point, I am with you. I'm with you. But as far as the ones I do have of Vader, it's just the Vader as I remember. And it's not so much the member berries. It's just like I knew the story, and it didn't have to go over too much detail about his story. It was, here's this badass who was a villain, who, at least as it came to Luke and him, Luke believed in his goodness to the point where he ultimately was redeemed. And so that's why when it comes to the treatment of modern day Star Wars as we've seen it, like you're discounting his whole redemption arc. And now you're peddling Hayden Christensen as his face. I'm sorry, but Sebastian Shaw is my Anakin Skywalker. You could say Christensen was Anakin, but for only that part of the arc. Only for that one part of the arc. And that's it.
Yeah.
So that's where I am with that. But
I have a question for Ed. You're working in the toy industry area, but do they ever give out like surveys sort of asking people what they want, or do they just go off of what they think is trending?
Well, I think, look, I mean, I work more for a games company that licenses. So like, you know, the company I work for licenses all. So if you go and buy the Star Wars Monopoly version, that's the company I work for, right? We make all those licensed versions, top trumps, you know, all those sorts of things. So it's the way it works really is quite simply that a movie, the movie will be announced, and then the licenses are acquired, and you agree what you're going to pay for that license. There's lots of boring stuff I won't go into now. So quite a lot of it's done well ahead of time. And of course, what you don't know is how successful a movie's going to be or not. And don't forget, you know, like when Dean mentions like Walgreens, Target, you know, you're working like, we worked on listings for Christmas 2024 back in August of this year. So like you're a year and a half ahead on those listings. You've got to have some sort of prototypes ready, or at least, you know, mock-ups of stuff. So it's so much in advance that I think that's why sometimes the launches appear very tone deaf to what the audience thought of the actual movie or the TV series that came out, because it's often done several years in advance, and nobody knows whether it's going to be popular or not. And then, of course, back to what we said earlier, who's the audience? Is it all of us on that? Well, maybe Tom excluded because he's a slightly different audience, perhaps. But you know, who's the audience for these things? So it's quite, you know, not that I'm giving any, you know, excuses to the big companies, but that's why there's so many overstocks in these places. You know, if you don't mind a bit of bargain hunting, you can find loads of overstocks because it's costing way too much to store it in warehouses rather than just clearing it below cost.
Yeah.
So we have a really good question here. So when you look at the old vintage Star Wars figures and you see the date on the back of the leg, does that mean that a Darth Vader sold on a Return of the Jedi card in 83 still had the sort of 77, 78 stamp on the leg, meaning that it was the mold that carried the date rather than the actual date of manufacture?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would think it's the mold, but
yeah. But my point is, though, does that mean that every Vader has the same date stamp, whether it was carded in 78 or 83. Yeah.
Yeah, must do.
Well, unless they updated mold, because weren't there at times like 7 or 8 factories churning these figures out? So
absolutely.
I suppose if they brought ones on later, if they brought ones online later on in the chronological order, then perhaps they could have had a 78 or 79. But yeah, it's a good question. I've always thought it was the date the figure was made out of the same mold, whether it was sold in 1880 or 77. It still said 77 on it. Like, good question.
No.
And I guess it depends if the molds, quite how robust the molds were, because I don't know how many units you can get out of a high quality mold, but at some point they deteriorate and they would have to make new ones. So perhaps they then updated the date stamp at that time.
Yeah. And Toys of a Time Gone By says, I bought from D2. I've seen Masterverse in town for actually, I tell a lie. I think it was Masterverse that I see here locally for $6.99. There's a figure, I don't know who he is. He's called Hero. Who is Hero?
Yeah, he was a figure that was never produced in the original.
Right.
In the original line, there was Eldor and Hero, and they were both supposed to be manufactured, but they never were. So they were figures that were sort of pipelines that never really happened.
I see.
Super 7 bought both of them out in their Filmation line, so you can get them in the Super 7 format. But
Masterverse is much more available than Origins. I'm assuming that's because with Origins, people of our age group are all over those, whereas Masterverse, you have to really either be a really die-hard fan of the franchise or a younger fan, perhaps.
Yeah, I see. Well, I think that whole Revelation series really missed. I mean, it could have hit the older audience if the show had been good, and it could have hit a younger audience had it been relevant to younger audiences. But it kind of fell in this grey area, and nobody really adopted it. And so that's why a lot of the Revelations and Masterverse figures now are selling for next to nothing, because they don't have a market.
So the reason he's asking is he didn't get into Star Wars until 83. And some of his figures have 79 or 80 on them, and they were new, not hand-me-downs. Okay.
Yeah, that was a good question, though.
Okay.
Actually, I've got to be honest with you. I have never taken the time to look at the stamps on the back of my Star Wars figures. I really don't care.
But because I wasn't growing up back when the figures were made, I remember when I first got into the line, I was really confused. So I was like... So I'd receive like a Stormtrooper. I'd be like, "Wow, this is an original 1977. I've got like the original." And then when I'd find out, it's like, "Wow, I've got a Han Solo Bespin, which is 1980. Wow, this is a great coincidence." Until I realized, oh, right. Yeah. So then that kind of really confused me then, and then till I had to eventually realize,
I think Tom, what would really confuse you was back in the day. So say, for example, I walked into the John Menzies store in 1983. I could still buy a original Luke Skywalker or a Chewbacca figure, albeit on a Return of the Jedi card, but it was the same figure that came out in 78 on a Star Wars card.
Kind of like this. So like Jedi card back and
exactly. So figures did not get retired back in the day. The whole series was always available at any given time. So therefore, even if there was to have been a scalping scene, they couldn't have done that because everything was available at any given time. Whereas nowadays, toys have a very short shelf life, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And then they disappear, and the next wave comes in, which means if you missed out on those previous waves, you have to pay scalper prices on eBay. But Kenner knew that everyone wanted all the figures all the time. So you could always get the full, I guess was it 96? Now, bearing in mind that this depended on the store's capacity to house all these figures, but the fact was Kenner made every figure available from 78 up to 83 or 84, perhaps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't it the case though that back then it was simpler times, and we just wanted to play with the figure. We didn't care what date it had on the back of the leg. We just liked the Boba Fett was Boba Fett or Darth Vader was Darth Vader. And I think it was, everything's just so much more sophisticated, good or bad now, and it's this desire for constantly generating newness and charging more money for that newness than what was done there. I suspect it's much more about the fact that it was less about, it was still about money, of course, but no one really cared. They just loved the figures for what they were, right?
When I was playing with Star Wars toys,
oh, sorry, go on.
I was never aware of which lines they were from. I just had my figurines. It was decades later that I really got aware of which lines they were, which dates they had. As a child, you don't care. You just have a Han Solo and a Luke Skywalker, and there you go.
Yeah. You take them to school, you swap them with your mates.
Yes, did that.
Yeah.
So Eric says, if Vintage Motu are my childhood, Origins Motu are awesome, Revelations Motu are really good action. Yeah, to be honest, they look okay as action figures. They just have no meaning for me personally, but that's quite okay. Good question. I'm going with the date of the sculpt. Yeah, I mean, obviously they made an initial mold with that date on it. Hang on, someone disappeared. Oh, it's Tom.
Tom.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi all from Lawrence. Thank you, Lawrence. Ben, hello to Lawrence. So Reading Movies says, didn't they write out He-Man Adam out in the first episode? Tila and the Masters of the Universe. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, was that like an attempt to push girl power or something, or?
Probably, yeah. It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, spoiler alert: He-Man did come back, or Adam did come back at the end of the first part of the season. But yes, for all intents and purposes, they did kind of write the character out.
Okay.
And it did become the Tila show, which again is fine if it had been advertised as such.
Yeah.
So
Ben has a question for us all. Can you name a modern reboot you've enjoyed?
No.
First couple seasons, first seasons of Cobra Kai, because it was a reboot and it wasn't. It was like if they were gonna do something where you waited decades after the fact, Cobra Kai set that up well at the beginning.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That was okay. It got a bit silly, but certainly you're right. The first couple of seasons were okay. Yeah.
I'll say the last Ghostbusters movie. I really enjoyed that.
Afterlife.
And I'm really looking forward to the next one.
Okay.
I enjoyed RoboCop that a year or 5 ago. Can't remember. There was a reboot of the film.
Yeah,
it wasn't so well appreciated generally, but I liked it.
The problem I had with that one was that they rated it 12A, so he had a stun gun instead of it missed Paul Verhoeven and just wiping out masses of people and blood and guts and the comedy that was in the original movie wasn't there.
Yeah, it was a very good.
But I did enjoy the bit where he asks, "Well, how much of me is still human?" or something, and it's literally just his head and his spine they pull out of her.
Yeah, these kind of things, and the idea, the way they filmed the fact when he woke up in the suit, he says like, "Get me out of this suit," and then they say, "Oh, this is not a suit. This is your new body." Yeah. That like claustrophobic feeling inside of the robot suit, the spirit versus the machine, like the whole theme of RoboCop. I found they did quite well. Okay, the original was better. RoboCop 2, they will never top for me. But I liked it.
No.
So for me, my answer would be, now, I didn't hate them. I didn't love them, but the 3 modern Star Trek movies were not terrible.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they were
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. I can see your point. I can see that. Yeah.
In particular, Bones was a really good modern take on that character, Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
It was really good. So yeah, that would be my answer. And now she's saying, "Say hi, everyone." So this is a phrase. So her nephew in Thailand, when we were there last time, he had learned this phrase, "Say hi." And we took him out one day, and there was one Indian couple had rented a condo in the building we were staying at, and we were walking with them, and he says to them, "Say hi." I'm like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. Thankfully, they understood he was just a small kid, but oh my god, very embarrassing. But yeah, say hi, everyone. Vomit Man says, does that say Hilda?
Yeah.
Hilda Ogden, perhaps? I don't know. I noticed at my Walmart, there's like 50 of the same Star Wars retro figure. It's just funny how companies release a handful of certain figures and many of others. Why not release the same to all? Yeah. Now, I'm not part of this because I don't have a Walmart here or a Target particularly close. But it does seem that certain characters just stay on pegs forever.
Yeah.
Now, is that a case of Hasbro making too many of that figure, or not reading the room and knowing what people wish to purchase? Any suggestions? And Tom is back.
Well, I think you always get peg warmers, don't you?
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll do a case pack of 8, and there'll be 6 unique figures and a couple extras of ones they know are going to sell. But unfortunately, you've always got your Lando Calrissians that just hang on a peg.
Yeah. But the thing for me is, as a kid, I loved my Lando Calrissian figures.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he so unpopular nowadays?
I don't know. It's the Lando effect. Every single iteration of Lando always ends up warming the pegs.
Now, does that take us into dangerous territory here?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, let's not go there then.
But every Lando figure is like extremely cool. Like they either have they're either revolutionary in some way. In which case, either cloth cape, removable helmet. I mean, vinyl cape obviously isn't that revolutionary, but it still looks pretty cool depending on the figure, you know. So I don't really get it either.
So
I also think back then, did they think that people would build armies with certain figures? I'm absolutely sure that they didn't think, oh, people might want 8 stormtroopers to build an army out of that, so let's manufacture 8 times as many stormtroopers as the other figures. I'm sure that level of insight and sort of thought, forecasting what needed to be manufactured, was never done. And I suspect that's how you end up with the peg warmers now, that some lazy account manager somewhere has said, yeah, I think we'll just sell 5,000 of each of those in the first 3 months in Target, without any further thought to it, because it's somebody else's problem further down the road. And like I said earlier, it's so far in advance, they don't know. But it drives me nuts.
They don't seem to have anyone who can look at it and go, actually, okay, these are going to be the characters in the new TV show. What do we know about them, people? Oh, well, they're from Star Wars. Whereas they should have someone going there, well, this is going to be Boba Fett, so this is going to be really cool. And this is going to be Fennec Shan. She's from the Clone series, Clone Wars series. So, you know, and there should be someone that actually knows who these characters are and whether people, fans, actually like those characters before they start that process of, you know what I mean?
You would think it would be as joined up as that, but I suspect, and I don't know this, but I'm just guessing that I think that you've got to remember this is a business, and we're passionate about this because we love the films, we love the figures, I suspect to a lot of people that are involved in it at the business level, they don't give a damn what it is. Basically, it's just yet another plastic figure to go out on a rack to make a number of percentage. And because to me, even like in the modern day, I liked actually some of the modern Mandalorian figures, like the Mandalorian and Grogu figure in a little white sort of capsule thing. I love that. I was trying to. We lost the capsule early on. My son did anyway, and we're desperately trying to find one. And it's just like, why didn't they produce? Surely someone knew that would be a popular one. Why is there so many of the random ones that aren't that interesting? But it just feels like, oh, let's just make X number of all of them exactly the same, and there's a sort of then there's a rarity of some and an oversupply of others that nobody wants.
I mean, I've noticed a certain level of disconnect when it comes to this whole process of getting it to the masses. So we're looking at the content itself, the hubbub around it, so the advertising isn't there. And there aren't that many good ads out there. And if you're at the retail shop, I don't know if you have enough subject matter experts or people who are passionate enough to the point where they have a familiarity of what they're trying to push off the pegs that can compel someone. I have no reason no one's compelled me to own or purchase a product, like going back to whether we're talking the new He-Man. There isn't a reason for me to go out and listen to someone give me a pitch on why I should buy that figure or why I should collect that character, if that makes sense. I just find... Yeah, go ahead.
Hasbro, they do the big presentation of, oh, this is what's coming out. And then you'll see some a famous YouTuber going, oh yeah, we're super excited about this figure and blah, 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 and that's your expert. And then you'll have like some very awkward looking executives that have been shoved in a Star Wars t-shirt or something. And they go, yeah, we're so proud to have this Han Solo figure. You know, it's just embarrassing.
So here's my point. How many times have there been videos made where a simple YouTuber, and I include myself in that category, says, so in my case, my main focus here is McFarlane and Batman 66. I lay it out in simple terms. McFarlane gave us a Wayne Manor library playset. That playset requires the Dick Grayson, and it's happened again. I did this video on Patreon. I can't believe this. Monkey Boy knows what I'm about. Bruce Wayne. It requires Grayson and Bruce Wayne figures. Now, that's not a problem because McFarlane gave us the unmasked Robin and the uncowled Batman. They have the head sculpts. We just need civilian bodies.
Yeah.
If they gave us those two figures, that would complete the play set that they already produced. But instead, they've taken this line into a direction of a 77 animation series.
Yeah.
That's my example. Now, in terms of Star Wars, the video will be out on YouTube tomorrow looking at the Retro Collection Book of Boba Fett figures. And in the comments, someone said, with regards to the Ahsoka series of Retro Collection, they included a character that died in the first episode, but failed to include the main villain of the series.
Right, yeah.
Who is making these decisions?
It's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah. I sometimes wonder that I remember a few years ago when there were new Star Wars release films, the figurines could be bought in the toy stores for a very short time, and then very quickly after you could find them in discount stores. And it was in such a frequent way that I wondered that could it be a strategy that a company says like, okay, we produce 10,000 figures. If we sell 1,000 of them at a regular price, we are true of our costs, and we have our margin, our gaining on the discount.
Mhm.
Just to see if it sticks or not. If it sells in regular toy shops, they might keep there a bit longer, and otherwise it's like they make too much. They over offer to, I don't know.
Yeah.
What such it would be.
But isn't it also the case that Hasbro are so clueless? The people they have working on these lines have no idea, because I do remember when they were trying to promote that HasLab Rancor figure, and the girl said, "Look, the Rancor can eat a stormtrooper just like in the movie."
That's great.
I want to ask Tom. I want to ask Tom a question because I see him rocking the Batman T-shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know how old you really are, but what drew you to Batman? What was your first contact with Batman, and what made him so compelling that you would say, "I got to buy that Batman T-shirt"?
Well, funnily enough, I mean, I'll always remember, right? Ever since I was like pretty much a baby, like a kid growing up, I mean, there's been a certain toy which like I can't even. My dad can't even decide if he bought it when he was in his 20s or when he was a kid, because he had a couple when he was a kid. But it was second edition Corgi Adam West Batmobile. Me and my brother, we played with this thing like hell. I mean, now the windscreen's cracked. I mean, Batman and Robin are still there, but there's like the tires on the wheels are chipped and stuff. But I mean, ever since then, it was always so like there was just this idea of Batman that was like, if there was this association with Batman, it was cool kind of thing. Like, and but I didn't actually watch like a Batman film until I was about 6, because pretty much until then it was primarily Star Wars, primarily in Indiana Jones, bits and pieces like that. And then so it was when I was about 6, 7 that that I received like a big batch of kind of Batman Lego, and so my dad was like, "Right, okay, this is what I grew up. Do you actually want to watch?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I was very eager to watch it." So I watched the Batman 1966 film. I thought that it was just like the coolest. I mean, I didn't really like identify the cheesiness of it, but basically at that time, so I took it quite seriously. It was quite funny, but I just thought, man, Batmobile, Batboat, Batcycle, fact that Batman and Robin can just come in, they can just beat up the criminals and be respected by everybody. I just thought that like that was like, I mean, it was for a while. It was pretty much 4 movie characters. It was Boba Fett, Indiana Jones, Batman, and probably Martin McFly from Back to the Future. They were like my 4 main kind of like go-to film characters. And I just like, but yeah, and just happily ever after.
Yeah, but the logo on your T-shirt is not from the 60s Batman. That's the Batman.
That's 89, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 89.
How did you appreciate that one?
Oh, Batman 89. Well, it was actually, it was afterwards. So I was very well into Batman 1966, but I was getting a bit older. I'd gone from 96 to a 98, 2 years difference. So, and I remember, I think it was the Lego Batman games that actually inspired me. And it was because the music from that is used in, hold on, I have it here as well, Batman 1989.
My favorite.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah, Danny Elfman. And I was like, okay, this guy clearly knows how to build a scene. And then I came across a scene. It was, and you can call me Joker. And then so there's Jack Nicholson doing his old, Joker stuff. And I thought,
have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, right, this is going to be my goal. This is the film I'm going to see. So I get it, because my dad was very kind of like firm. Right, yes, this was the first ever 12. This was something I saw in the cinema in 1989. So I was like, right, okay. So then I I woke up my pocket money to buy the DVD. DVD arrives, says 15, and I'm like, so my dad manages to convince my mum, saying, this was actually the first time, and she was just like, all right, go ahead. So I was chuffed. I was in the living room. I was watching this film, and like my mind was just like, it was just completely blown, because I mean, Batman 66, that's a cool film, but 1989 is stylized. That is like properly
Tim Burton.
Yes, Tim Burton. So
kind of spirit, yeah.
And I just like, I reckon it was Batman 66 that got me into Batman, but it was Batman 89 that got me into like the unique comic stories of Batman. That's what kind of influenced that, But yeah.
We're all hoping that Dean is going to watch Batman 89.
Yes,
I will very soon, I promise.
New Year's resolution, eh?
Yeah. Let me just do some chat here. Now, I'll just go back quickly to Vomit Man, who said Hilda. What he meant to say was hello. Now, I've no idea how that one happened, but that's a very good autocorrect. Rick says Hero was the unproduced one alone with Eldor in the vintage line. Ben says to Toys of a Time Gone By, think that's just the shelf warmer phenomenon. All the desirable ones have already sold already. Yeah. Hero was the unproduced. Okay. They were shown but never released. I remember a shop where I live that famously still sold Star Wars figures in the early 90s. Wow. I mean, that's not that unusual, because a lot of small independent stores could not afford just to move stock along. So they would have everything on pegs. I still famously remember the Power of the Force figures in my local R.S. McCall newsagents being on sale for 50 pence. But because I had stopped collecting Star Wars and was into Action Force, I paid them no attention whatsoever.
My dad remembers seeing a whole line of yak faces in his local newsagents and just not giving them a second thought, because he was just like, you know what, I've collected all the Star Wars figures I want, so yak faces, I don't need yak face.
It's insane. Oh, hindsight.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, I do remember clear as day, the local R.S. McCalls had this sort of a revolving shelf of pegs, and they had Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper disguise, and they had slapped a handwritten 50p, ticket on the card back. I didn't even give it a second glance. I wish they would have continued into the Power of the Grayskull line. We would have had some more cool vintage figures, and maybe the giants like Titus and Megator wouldn't be $3,000. Right. Ben says, curious name. Yeah, it's a Vomit Man is indeed a curious name.
It's Vomit Man.
Yes. I find that the date stamps on toys today are very confusing indeed. For example, I received a Transformers Blaster reissue, and he is stamped with 1984 Takara Hasbro. So it must just be an orange mold date. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. But then again, these Chinese knockoffs are quite sophisticated, and they will do what they have to make it look very authentic. Do you remember when Super 7 made a new episode of the Filmation Motu show, The Attack of the Three Terrors, and they even got Alan Oppenheimer to voice Skeletor again? Why can't they continue that? I don't remember that.
No, that passed me by. I'm going to have to investigate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Weird. Lando was one of my favorite Star Wars characters as a kid and adult. Yeah, I liked my Lando figures, so I don't know why he's still a peg warmer.
Yeah, my Lando in Skiffguard disguise is one of my top 5 Star Wars figures.
Classic figure. Saw RoboCop reboot at the cinema, rated 12A, so noticed a lot of dads took their preschool-aged kids. The reveal of Murphy being just a head and lungs, all the kids burst out screaming and crying.
Excellent.
It's like with Duplico, what makes the figure so special? You have other Sunman figures going for $10. Duplico is $80. It's really a mess. We should be able to get all these easily. Of course we should.
Yeah, definitely.
It's obscene. I loved all my Lando figures. Trying not to lose that gift guard helmet was like looking after a precious gem. And the sculpt and cake material of the last 17 was pucker. Yeah, it was a great looking figure.
Yeah.
The Kenner Cloud City Lando figure is great for customizing with those trousers. I've made Miami Vice and Saturday Night Fever figures out of it. Just swap the heads out. Yeah, those big flares.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I was looking forward to a Commissioner Gordon police station playset, and now they basically went and jumped into a new adventure of Batman. I think 66 is what people have nostalgia for. Of course it is. But bearing in mind there are issues. I think Neil Hamilton is one of the actors we will never get a figure of. Never been made, so unlikely to ever get made. Same with what is it now? Batgirl. Yvonne Craig. When she was alive, she allowed her likeness to be used, but once she passed, the estate stopped it.
Right.
So, which is why in the McFarlane line, they used the comic book Batgirl as the figure.
Right.
So yeah, it does get a bit annoying at times, but I guess it is what it is. Nice work. And Ben says, cool how Tom has zoned in on the same characters we loved, but a generation apart. They must be good characters. Good taste, Tom. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So to get back on track with the whole theme of this live stream, so let's go around the circle and give the answer to what was your best addition to your collection this year, and what is one thing you wish to add to your collection next year. And I guess going in sequential order should be Cy first.
Right. Yeah, the best thing that I got this year. It's going to be the Aston Martin that I was donated.
Very fair.
And I'm slowly building up a little collection. So I do have on order 3 Lotuses from the Corgi Juniors.
Wow.
But they're not the James Bond ones.
Oh,
but
really?
are they? I tried doing some research and I paid €20 for the 3, and you get a red one, you get a white one with the little stripe on it that says Turbo, and I've got a white one, which is the same as the submarine one. But none of them say 007 on. And checking them out on eBay, some of them are going, oh yeah, it's a James Bond special one. It's €150 or something like that.
Are they the ones from For Your Eyes Only?
Spy Who Loved Me.
Because I know that the Lotus Esprit, like the submarine one, was Spy Who Loved Me, but I know that there was also
the other ones, from Your Eyes Only, but the red one is it should from the movie. It was like a coppery brownie color.
Had skis on the back.
Yeah, so I do have the bigger version of that, but these are the smaller 164.
Oh right.
Yeah, but so when they come through, I'm planning a video for that. But sorry, went off track a little bit. One thing that I want to get next year. Well, actually, I started collecting the Indiana Jones Adventure series. So there's a couple of Indiana Jones figures I'm looking for, and Britons. I want to get some more Britons. Stuff to build up the yellow spaceman, and also I want to get that little 2-man submarine. I know you got it, Dean. That's also a toy that I had when I was a kid, and I have no idea what happened to it. I'd love to be able to find my original one. It might still be at my parents, buried away somewhere. So that's my answers.
Good answers, Monkey Boy.
Well, I think the things that I was most pleased to get this year were the 4 original real Ghostbusters figures. I had the reissues, but I managed to get the original ones all complete, and also the Ghostbusters Firehouse playset, which I've been wanting for a very long time, and I finally managed to get that this year. So I think those Ghostbusters items are probably the items that I'm most pleased to have picked up this year. But also here I've got to show you this, which is the.
Hang
Which
on,
is
hang
the,
on, hang on.
It's a bit. I've got a bit of glare on there, but it's the Club Grey Skull Super 7 Teela figure. Now, I went into Norwich a few months ago with Reading Movies, and we went to a local toy store, second-hand toy store, and I found this in there for the amazingly low price of £20, and I could not believe it. I nearly fell down in the shop. I bought it so quickly, and then we just got the flock out of there because I was sure someone was going to stop me and say, "Sorry, we meant to put 120 on that, not 20." So I bought that very quickly and left. So this was probably my best purchase of 2023. I don't think I'm going to beat that in terms of a bargain, because these are very hard to come by on eBay. And also, I don't know if you can tell, but the position that she's in the bubble is quite good. She's not just facing forward in a boring manner. She's got a bit of attitude to her head. And obviously, as a non-opener, I was very pleased that she was in a great position. So that would be my bargain of the year. In terms of what I'm looking forward to next year, I must say I'm very much looking forward to receiving my pre-orders of the Origins Filmation cartoon style characters. I've ordered the first 2 waves of those, so I'm looking forward to those very much.
Good. So, and moving down, Seth, what was your best of this year, and what are you looking forward to next year?
This year, I completed my collection of Thunderbirds. I had the 90s Matchbox series. I missed a few figures. I think I bought that Lady Penelope and her waiter. I also completed that collection with the Thunderbird 2, the big one from that series of Matchbox. It was one big scale vehicle. I love that a lot, so I've completed that now. I have the island and all. But I'm in general not such a big toy collector than you guys. I buy sometimes some stuff I really remember from the early days, but I'm more of a toy maker. I'm more into making. So that's my perspective on the hobby. But I would like to buy in 24 are borderline toys. I say like I'm more into statues like you see behind me here. Is Robocop, the 18-inch. Well, from that series, I would like to find.
Let me bring you up here. Yeah. Okay.
See here, like the Robocop. There is Terminator. There is Alien also there. I like to complete that row with the Predator on the 18-inch scales, because these are my personal favorites from the 80s. These 4 movies, like Predator, Alien, and Terminator. What I also would like to find this year is a Stingray from Gary Anderson, the submarine. There are very nice Matchbox models, I think, from end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. Maybe I'll find that. There are also a few figurines with that, so I might do that. Or there is one thing on top of my list for a while now is on a good scale, Blade Runner Spinner, the car. I'd like to find it on a 1/18 scale or maybe larger. So these are my.
Okay,
that's cool, man.
Ed, what was your best this year, and what are you looking forward to next year?
Well, continuing on with the Robocop theme, I picked up the talking 12-inch figure from I think it's there's a vintage toy shop down on the south coast. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I picked that up for a decent price, I thought, and it works really well still, good condition. I don't think talk. I don't have it to hand. I don't think it came out the same year as the film. I think it came out a few years later when they did it. But that was I was pleased to get that with the gun as well and the various accessories. And I think a bit boring, but maybe I'd like to add a few more of the Stan Solo figures to the collection. You know, I've got some of the the vinyl Cape Jawa and some of the earlier ones, but I like the new Greedo that he's done, the more appropriately dressed or authentically dressed to the movie. I've watched your videos on that, Dean, and I'd like to add a few more of those to the collection. Really, I never know whether to buy them loose and then they can go with the rest of the collection, or whether to buy, because he sometimes does both, doesn't he? You can have a carded version, or
he does.
But if I buy the carded, it will probably stay on the card. So I just so far I've always bought the loose ones and played with them a bit.
That's what I do as well.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
So Lester, what was your top acquisition of 2023?
Oh, I think the vintage collection Star Wars I got from Tong Hori. It's a website based out of Hong Kong, I believe, but got them at a price I couldn't deny. Like good price. I didn't think it would be as good, but it's good for the reasons I stated as to why I got the Luke and Vader pairing.
Yeah.
For next year, I'm looking to complete my Macross collection, which I don't know goes very deep, but I have a Rick Hunter Veritech fighter, but I want to get a Roy Fokker or a Skull Squadron Veritech fighter.
Now, Lester, Macross is what originally was the Jetfire that became Jetfire and Transformers, correct?
Yeah,
But was Macross perhaps yellow and black trim, whereas Jetfire was red trim? Is that the case?
It depends, because depending on within the Macross lore, each squadron had a set of colors for their aircrafts. And the one I got, which was for Rick Hunter in the Robotech world, or Ichiro Hikaru, I forget the name, but his initial fighter plane was a red trim base, because he was, and then when he became Skull Leader after Roy Fokker died in combat, he took over that plane. So it's kind of like completing that pair. Or if I find a quintessential Snake Eyes figure, which I got some answers about that, but I want to still see what's available out there, or a quintessential Slave Leia, because I think I might look for a Han Solo figure just to get the main characters of the Star Wars trilogy. We'll see. We'll see what 24 has.
Well, for Slave Leia, you have to get the Stan Solo version.
Definitely.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah. So, Tom, what was your favorite acquisition of this year?
Well, that would probably have to go to the authentic 1982 Kenner Indiana Jones. It's a figure that I've been looking for 8 years of my life. It was,
that's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ever since I was aware of that line, I was like, right, okay, I gotta get these. But then here's the thing: living in the UK, so I go onto eBay, very enthusiastic. It's like, oh wow, here's one for a good price. It was a little over my budget at the time, and then it's something like, because it's something like 40 quid post and packaging. It's like, oh, never mind. Oh, like there's no, and then again. So, and then it took until earlier this year, and so basically I was just browsing eBay. One popped up for about 30. I want to say for about £32 roughly, and so my brother, so I remember that he saw the message. Basically, he saw the message on eBay, and he was like, "Right, you gotta see this." So I find it, and I'm like, and then immediately so I buy it, and I'm very chuffed. And then when it arrives, I'm just really ecstatic, and it like, you know, that satisfaction you feel when you get like you acquire something, and it was just, man, that something that you don't get every day.
No.
And then you have to wait for it to come in the post, and you're just hoping that it doesn't get lost, and that someone's going to be home to take delivery of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for next year, is there anything you have your eyes on?
Well, I'm gonna say, well, some more Kenner Indiana Joneses, because it's just, but something, but like a main line of mine is the Clone Wars line, and this may sound a bit odd, but the Clone Wars is what was on, like, which was the Star Wars, which was being aired when I was a kid. Right. So that's my Star Wars, and whenever I find like a really cool clone, and they are quite sort of getting sought after now, because either my generation or, you know, older people, they're getting more interested in them. So that's so mainly like clone troopers and stuff like that. A couple Jedi. Yeah.
Now, I was thinking about my answers to this, and I think ultimately my favorite acquisition was getting the old Palitoy Action Man back in my hands again. But then I realized that I got the unlicensed Mars Toys Cesar Romero Joker figure, which was an absolutely stunning piece of work. Which once again goes to show you that you don't have to have a big corporation to make really nice toys. I have no idea how big Mars Toys are, but they have done a damn good job making a really screen-accurate Joker figure.
Yeah, that prank villain was really, really good.
Yeah,
that was nice.
And also, though, I do love the name Prank Villain. That was... You know, just to get around things. But the fact of the matter is that they have done this on a very small budget, and they have put these big companies to shame. So that may well be my favorite thing I got this year. Now, next year, I'm going to be honest here. I'm not looking. Now, is that true or not? We're always looking, but I am at the point where, and that has been evidenced through my series of Last Chance Saloon pickups, that I have pretty much got everything back that I wanted to get back into my possession, which was things I had as a kid. Because for the most part, I'm all about the memories, and modern toys don't hold any memories for me, so I just want to get back things I used to have and hold them again and just remember how happy these things made me. And I've done a pretty good job. There are one or two things that are still missing, but I don't think I'll ever find them. For example, the A-Team Rough Riders truck with the gear lever on the roof. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
Yeah, vaguely.
It was either forward was two-wheel drive, middle was neutral, so it was just like a die-cast mechanism, and rear was a four-wheel drive. And that thing really could traverse any slope that you presented to it. I have looked on eBay for months. I have never seen one come up. And I'm beginning to wonder, did I imagine this toy?
I didn't dream of it.
Yeah. There were a few of those toys that had the gear shifter on the top, weren't there?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Faces Corvette. I've seen Knight Rider. I've seen other A-Team vehicles. I have never seen the A-Team Enforcer van I had. And I remember distinctly, it had the gear shifter. It was, two-wheel drive, neutral, or four-wheel drive. It has never appeared once in the last 4 months on eBay. So that is probably my holy grail, if you will.
Yeah. Well, patience normally pays off.
Yeah, don't lose faith.
One thing I would like to get hold of, and I always seem to miss it every time it's remade, is a good Evel Knievel stunt cycle. Never had it as a child. There's an amazing Instagram channel I follow with this guy that does these. He's obviously got one, and he does these jumps, and it's sort of like launches out of a third-story bedroom window, somehow jumps about, 7 cars out on the driveway, and lands perfectly on a ramp. I'm sure he's done a few takes, but I'd love to get one of those and try a few of those videos.
Yeah, actually, there's a company called California Creations that did a reissue of those, which I have. But I was very lucky to receive an original Evel Knievel mint in box, which I've kept. Obviously, I've opened it, but I've not actually used it. I will never use it. I'm going to display it as it is. But I have the California Creations a reproduction that I will be doing videos in Thailand, and I will be making that thing jump everything you can possibly imagine. Because that thing is modern, it's not vintage, therefore I have no attachment to it. I will send that thing through its paces. So
put it on fire.
Do they still make that, Dean? Or
yeah,
I think I've seen it, but I'm sure even those were going for silly money on it, like silly money as in like 70, 80 pounds on eBay or something. So they're still doing these things.
In fact, I just saw an advert from them offering a new ripcord version of a mini stunt cycle for about $20, which is rather interesting. But yeah, they still have different versions. Now,
I'll look that up.
That part was though, the reproduction that I got from them has a black body to the motorcycle, so it does not represent the one that we had as kids.
Yeah.
But it still functions the same.
Right. And it's still on the red base? Is it the same red base with the white handle, or is that different?
Yes. Interestingly enough, the one that I got from California Creations has the red base and white handle, but as a kid, mine came with a yellow base and white handle.
Oh, really?
I would love to get hold of, but I've never seen one of those again. Yeah.
No.
But honestly, I think if someone were to ask me, what was your favorite toy of the 80s? That is up there in the top 3 for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it did what it said it would do.
Right. Yeah.
Because so many toys were advertised as doing this, that, and the other, and they never did. But that one really did do what they said it would do. And without question, one of the best toys ever.
Because there was a way of sort of keeping it on the ramp. And if you had the stamina in the left or right arm, you could keep winding that thing to get some RPM. And when it eventually launched off, in fact, I remember my neighbor doing exactly that. And it launched off so well down the drive, it overshot the drive, went straight out in the road and under a car. So that was unfortunately an early bump for Evel Knievel there. But yeah, it did actually deliver on the promise, didn't it? That you could really get it going.
In fact, didn't Analog Toys do a video where he made it jump Snake Mountain?
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. But and again, another toy that I maintain did exactly as it said it would do was the Dukes of Hazzard speed jumper set.
Oh yeah.
Which was a setup whereby there was a ramp, but the ramp had a hidden sort of raised element to it.
Like a kicker. Yeah.
That would flick the switch on the underside of the car and put it into hyperdrive. And that would make it do amazing jumps. And that was another toy that I loved as a kid, simply because what I was able to do was what I saw on the commercials, which was very rare back then. Because the commercials were full of all these promises. And for the most part, we could never replicate what we saw on the commercials. But Speed Jumper was one of those.
Yeah.
Even worse now with all the health and safety rules that apply. I think they deliver even less on the promises. Yeah.
Speaking of the Dukes of Hazzard, look what I found when I was rummaging around in my loft boxes.
Loft boxes.
Loft boxes. Yeah.
I found my childhood.
Wow.
My childhood General Lee.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah.
It's a die cast. I had two of these. I had this one, which was my stunt one, which I did all the jumping and smashing about with, and then I had one that I kept in pristine condition. It's got an opening bonnet.
Oh wow!
And it's from I can't. It's an Ertl. It's made by Ertl. But I'm afraid I can't tell you the year because I don't have my glasses on and I can't see what year it was. But this is pretty old, so I was very happy to have found this.
Fantastic.
It's great.
Yeah, it's
good to see
the
tires
other one
haven't perished.
No, they're absolutely fine. They're in perfect condition.
Dave,
I got really lucky with that.
Dave, let's be bold and show us that flag on the roof.
Oh yeah.
Enough of that. Oh boy. Hang on.
I should have taken
something here.
This is a more modern day.
Is it the same one?
I think there's about 20. I picked this one up in a second-hand store.
Wow.
Is it the same?
So it's the same. Look underneath.
It's the same one.
Oh,
is it? No, yours looks bigger.
Yeah, I think it's bigger. This is 118 scale, but I don't have my glasses on, so I can't actually see.
I once converted one of the Ertls to an RC.
Also Ertl, but I think it's a more modern day version.
Yours has got a different. Yours is bigger than mine, Si.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Something
Moving on quickly. Let me just catch up with the chat here. So we have a comment here. I watched your video about opening your vintage figures all through. It's scary. I can see what you're trying to say because they literally fall apart and break down in time. So what do you do about that? No, what I'm saying, the whole point was, if you, for example, Action Man came in a windowless box, and I know stories firsthand of people with a sealed in box Action Man, and the box is rattling because Action Man's head fell off because the elastic corroded. I did my Mego Star Trek Acturian, opened them up, and the legs fell off because the pins had corroded over the decades. My point is, there's an infinite amount of time left to enjoy these toys because they've done well for 40 years, but the signs are now showing that these toys are breaking down. And unless you enjoy them now, it's going to be too late. Am I alone in thinking that?
Are you burning a lot of joysticks or something, Dean? That somehow getting to these. Well, I did watch the video and I thought, well, yeah, I suppose most people don't realize till they actually take them out of the pack.
Yeah.
What gloop or whatever's behind them, because as you showed them in the video, they looked quite in good nick from the box, but when you took them out, well, as you say, they just all fell apart.
Yeah.
Oh, I had the chance. I saw on an online store they had the 4-pack of the A-Team from Gloob, the small ones, and it was 170 euros, but it was the packaging was in virtually pristine condition and everything. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's a lot of money, but my God, the packaging always gets me. That 80s. Thing, and then I was like, yeah, I did have all those figures when I was younger, and I haven't got them now. In the end, I didn't do it because I knew I'd buy it, I'd put it in my collection, and then within a year or two, those little O-rings are going to snap, and all the legs are going to fall off.
Yeah.
And I actually had in this summer, all my GI Joe Action Force had fallen down out of the display because one high up, the O-ring had gone, and it. Head dive. Domino effect.
Look out all the others.
Yeah. But then I see if I'd bought those 18 figures, because that's vintage, I would not have been able to open it. No,
Yeah.
Is that the ones with the rubbery heads? Is that which is the one, the 18 figure? I had the BA with the sort of rubbery, you could squeeze the head on it.
Yeah,
It was
those were 6-inch.
but they were the bigger ones. Yeah,
6-inch, was it?
6-inch,
Yeah.
yeah.
I fear the head on those probably has perished over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine are all okay. I've got a couple of sets of those, and they're all fine. I really think it just depends on how they've been stored.
Yeah,
you've got one that's just the head.
Yes, yes, I've got stick base.
Bizarrely, though, that was the 6-inch figure that did not contain O-rings.
That's true.
Yeah. Andrew's favorite purchase was the Kenner Imperial Shuttle with box. Nice.
Oh, wow. Andrew, nice one, man.
And for 2024, it will be the Kenner Dagobah set or play set and the Stan Solo Dagobah look.
Good luck on the Dagobah playset, and that's hard to come by. That is.
Yeah.
I've only seen one.
Yeah. Ben is very. He saw the shuttle in about 2008. The 30th anniversary version was warming the shelves in his local Toys R Us to the point they were £25. Regret not pulling the trigger. Oof. Yeah. In 2023, I finally got a complete firecracker from Mask. Monkey Boy's review of the same made me realize my previous was far from complete. Thanks, Monkey Boy.
No worries, Andrew. Yeah, that firecracker was a sod for parts. I thought I had a complete one until I saw a picture and I realised it has a silver chrome bumper on the back, which is often missing now. So that's a real sod for parts. That one actually. It's one of the worst in the line for getting incomplete.
Yeah.
So well done for completing it.
Impossible Pie says, hi, Dean, and everyone else on the stream to the chat. Wishing you everyone a happy new year, and same to you.
Thanks, man.
And right back at him. Vintage Toy Rush is here. Good to see you, Dave. There was a Bigfoot with gear shifter by Play School. Bigfoot rings a bell. But I'm not.
Yeah, I kind of remember that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ben says, all things 80s. Rough Rider, A-Team, and Knight Rider. The ones with the sawtooth-shaped sponge tires? Yes. Wasn't there a lever forward and reverse? I've got another reason to search the loft now. No. Forward, I think, was two-wheel drive for a fast speed. Middle was neutral, so you could move it like just like a die cast. And the rear position was four-wheel drive, and it could traverse any slope that you put in front of it. Dean, there's two of those A-Team Rough Rider Enforcer vans with lever on top on eBay UK. Okay, I'll need to check that out. Nice. I've got an Evel Knievel dragster sealed. Can't bring myself to open it. The dragster was cool. I remember that one. I'm really a vintage loose buyer. I don't really like my figures in box because you were right. You can't enjoy them that way. Indeed. Those A-Team figures were almost falling apart new in the 80s. Yeah. Ben says, don't forget that like button, all you excellent folks in the chat. Thank you, Ben. And finally, my favorite purchase of 2023 was my Sector's Hive.
That's a big play set.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, I feel a slight bittersweet moment whereby, having been to Thailand enough times now, I'm now very much of the opinion that Western vintage toys are not a thing there.
Yeah, I noticed.
So going forward, any additions to my collection will only be things that particularly catch my eye. So as it is, I think I have amassed a small Cayman Rider collection only because I like how they look. I don't know the series, I don't know the characters, but the figures look cool. That's where I'll be going, I guess, from this point on.
As long as you don't buy any of those sodding bear things.
Oh, those
these are strange. Yeah.
Are those the Coop what they call them, Kubrick or something, or
I
the
don't know
Kubrick stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
they're weird.
Oh, it's terrible.
What is the origin of these? I've seen it appear in your video, Dean, a while ago in a museum.
They're from Japan. But the sad part is some of those cost in excess of $2,000 or $3,000 US.
If you see some of the Back to the Future ones,
yeah,
they are immense. they are immensely like expensive. They are, because I remember came across them when I was a kid. I was like, and they were doing more stuff than Lego at the time. Because I had the Lego Back to the Future DeLorean. I was like, okay, time to get some more. Well, this is good. Oh. So, like, I didn't even bother asking my parents because I knew that just, like, they were just, like, too expensive for what they were, you know?
I think they have a bit of the features of a Lego figurine, like the body with the arms. They have, and then, the strange Mikey ears.
But there's no articulation. Those are just straight-up plastic statues.
They are horrible.
Like, so, for example, I looked at one store had Optimus Prime and Megatron side by side, and I looked at them, and they were perhaps 15 inches in height. The price tag suggested the Optimus Prime was $2,000 US, and Megatron was $3,000 US. I'm like, where does that price come from?
This RC Optimus Prime was cheaper, I think.
Yeah,
you could have a real one.
It's absolutely incredible. But for whatever reason, Asian people love those things.
But who wakes up and goes, I'm going to spend £3,000 on shit?
Well, yeah.
Precisely.
Come on, with too much bloody money.
I mean, but furthermore, I've been to a couple of pretty exclusive displays in Thailand. One was the coffee shop that had the most exquisite Star Wars busts on display. They had a ton of these bears. And then the Bat Cat Museum, with all the amazing stuff they had, those had a ton of these bears as well.
Oh, wow, I've got a really good display. Time to ruin it.
Yeah. Precisely. I don't understand that whatsoever.
But it's a good thing you're moving out there and you can teach them how to collect properly, Dean.
Yeah. Tom, go ahead.
I gotta make like a tree and get out of here. So
thank you for coming on, Tom.
Nice to see you, Tom.
Yes, see you around.
Cheers, man. Happy New Year, mate.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
See you next time. See you around.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Oh, and Action Pop Dad has stopped in the chat. He said, "Hello, chaps. Sorry I'm late. Still ill with the crappy beer virus. Is that a hangover or what? I don't know."
No, he's got the Rona.
Oh, I would love to have joined you, but I'm not pretty enough with this snotty look. Well, I'm still somewhat snotty, but I think I did okay tonight.
Oh, yeah, Dean, by the way, I meant to say, sorry I couldn't make it for your last live stream.
Oh, no.
I did check it afterwards, and you did a sterling job going through that because you were not well at all, man.
Oh, no.
Holy shit.
I was a mess. But thank you, Dave. Ben says, "Happy New Year to Action Pop Dad. There's a lot of that beer virus going around. Or really, is it back in the UK?
Not sure.
I
never go anywhere, so I'm all right. I'm unlikely to catch it. But
in Europe, it's going around in the Netherlands.
Nick says, "Happy New Year to Ben. When I was a child, I had those two cool 2-foot tall Shogun warriors. Did you guys have those? I did not, I'm afraid.
No, but I like the Skeletor one.
And Ben saying cheers to Tom. And Nick says it's bloody rife in his area.
That's right.
Now, interestingly enough, I was extremely unwell, a week or two ago. I did the test. It wasn't that. It was just a damn cold, which is quite annoying because in the 3 years we've dealt with this virus, I have not been sick at all, but except from getting the actual thing in Thailand.
Yeah.
This year, which happened, But in the previous 3 years, I guess it first broke out in March of 20, I believe. I survived, no problems whatsoever, no coughs, no sniffles. But this year, got the COVID in June, and since then, I've had the sniffles a few times and this major cold last week.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah,
So,
I think once you get run down, you then tend to get more, don't you? So it sort of tends to one follows on the heels of another sort of thing.
Yeah. So we've gone for 2 hours 26. So let me just get this last chat in here. I really enjoyed your videos, Dean, and great musical intro. Oh, thank you so much. That's incredibly kind of you. And Nick says, this is my 4th time with the 4th time? Good Lord.
You're just being greedy, Nick. Save some for everybody else.
Yeah. Aren't these vaccines effective? Sorry, thought you meant hangover, but I've just had 2 weeks off flu-like stuff this month. Not good, man. Hope you feel better. Indeed. Hope you feel better as well, Ben. So yeah, this was pretty good stream tonight. Good chat.
That's cool.
Yeah, good talking about the old stuff and what we wish to do next year, etc. So for everyone that tuned in, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you stuck by this. We have another chat. Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year to you. So thank you all for tuning in. We will continue doing what we all do. I will go around the circle and ask everyone to announce what they have coming up and what they intend to do for the new year. So starting with Sai.
If you'll chuck our names up on the screen, Dean.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. So,
thanks, man.
So Sai, please go ahead and tell us what you have coming up.
Coming up, I have got. I recently bought some mini little Transformer figures, so I've got a video coming up about those. That's going to probably be my next video, and then there's going to be the Corgi James Bond. And I'm also thinking of doing a video saying why I'm not collecting vintage Star Wars anymore. So that's what I've got coming up. Some very exciting stuff. Now, Monkey Boy.
Well, more of the same on my channel, Monkey Boy's Toys. Just looking at various things that I've got coming into the Monkey Boy nest. But I'd really appreciate it if people would find Skeletor's channel and check him out. I'm trying to get his sub count up. Okay. If you go to any of my videos and look on the video description, you can find a link to Skeletor's channel. He does a weekly Q&A session, so you can write in and ask Skeletor anything you like, and he will answer you on the following show. So I'd encourage people to check Skeletor out if they're able to. That would be really awesome. Thank you so much.
It's the internet's best kept secret. I think that might be the problem with your advertising there.
Excellent. Seth, what's going on with you?
I'm doing right now a reproduction on 1/18 scale of the Texaco station as gas station as seen in Back to the Future 2. Nice. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm building a model of the pizza oven of Back to the Future 2 on a 1/2 scale. I have.
No one rehydrates pizza like you.
Exactly that one. I have a model finished. It's primed now. I will color it probably after the next year. After the new year, I will start airbrushing on that. So I have a few projects going there. But I'm not so very active on social media or YouTube. But if you guys are lucky, you can find me on Instagram with an update of these projects if I find the time to edit my material and upload it. But that might be a good thing for the new year, is to get more onto social media with my work. I have some.
Yep.
But not
do it. Get it out there. Push it out.
So Seth, I just realized, I think we discussed this briefly at the end of last year.
Yes, we did.
About doing a show to highlight your creation.
Yeah.
So we have to make a point of doing that in 2024. Okay.
Definitely, I'd be happy to show you some of my stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of movie-related 80s stuff, props and all. So
right.
And 3D printing.
And Ed, do you have anything coming up that we should know about?
No, I'm afraid not. But I am enjoying everyone else's stuff. So
good.
I'll continue with that. I will look up the Skeletor equivalent of Jim Will Fix It. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
As a fan of the Monkey Boy channel, I will.
Hopefully, but Dave, hopefully no children are hurt in this video, please. that would not be a good look.
No, it's actually this tomorrow's episode is quite a tame one. Definitely, Ed. If you pop onto my channel and go onto any of the recent videos, check in the description and you'll find a link to Skeletor's channel. He'll be very pleased to have you.
I will be sure to look it up.
I have to say, Dave,
you'll never trust another unlabeled bottle in your fridge again.
Oh no! But Dave, I have to confess, I was somewhat appalled. Is the right word? Yeah, appalled at the content of Skeletor's last video. When I asked if he had any Christmas Eve traditions, I did not expect to hear that.
I'm going to find it. Well,
he only speaks the truth. I can't fault him for that.
Yeah. So I don't know where I got to with the last chat. I think we got here. So Nick is asking, hope to get on next time. If you will have me, you're always welcome. Happy New Year, Bambinos. Thanks for an awesome stream as always, Dean. And thank you to each who joined in the stream. Indeed. Ben says, being a bit out of the loop do you guys on the panel have YouTube channels I should be subscribing to?
Sure. Be my 38th subscriber.
We went over that. It's the curse of the 3 terrors, not attack, that Super 7 made its continuation of the original Filmation cartoon. Speaking of Super 7, and if Nick is still watching, he will like this. I will do a video very soon. I just got some material from Super 7 I ordered a long time ago. We have Cliff Burton, Metallica figure,
nice,
and a Lemmy of Motorhead figure.
I want to see that one.
So those will be up soon. Can't wait to get those out.
Nice.
But yeah, honestly, I keep saying this. People hate Super 7. I have no issues thus far, but they have the best licenses.
Yeah.
I mean, Transformers, Star Trek, Iron Maiden, Ghost, Metallica, Motorhead. Who else?
Alien.
Yeah.
Alien.
Everything. Clearly, the owners are people of our ilk who want to recreate the things they enjoyed in the 80s.
Yeah.
That can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
Only had 1 episode, and Super 7 released 4 figures from the show.
Yeah.
In reference to what? I'm not sure. Ben says, great stream, guys. Still on the chat, and Happy New Year. Hope we can do it again soon. Yes. Rich, good to see you, Rich. Happy holidays, Dean and all. Thank you. I'm still watching. Good to see you, Nick. Happy. We're all happy. I officially have a toy erection. Wow. Well, yeah, that's rather odd.
Special.
Gerard is here. Hi, all. Thank you, Gerard. Happy New Year for tomorrow, everyone. So that's a good point to end things because it's been 2 hours and 2.5 hours. Oh, we got one more. Happy New Year, Gerard O'Connor. Good, sir. Okay. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who joined on screen. This was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having us, Dean.
Thanks for having us, Dean.
Hopefully, you will all subscribe to these channels up on the screen here. A couple more chats. It was in reference to the Three Terrors episode they released figures to. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, it's odd, but I'm odd. Well, we're all odd. But thank you so much, everyone. And in closing, I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully 2024 is a good one for us all. So in closing, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Awesome. Thank you so much. See you next time.
See ya. Take care.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Bye.